Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Dee, and this is Dee's Bookish Musings, where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. If you're new here and you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you here on my channel. And if you are returning, thanks so much for coming back. So let's go ahead and get into this video. I'm going to be sharing books with you that are going to make you feel something, okay? So if you've been a loyal subscriber or viewer of my channel, you guys may know this about me. I am an emotional reader. I like books that are going to make me feel something. I am an emotional person by nature. That's just who I am. Not so much now at my big age. I'm still kind of emotional, but I know how to control my emotions better now and not be so emotional now. But I love a good emotional story. Stories that are going to bring something out of me, make me feel some type of way. I do like to read books that are about human nature, humanity, which involves sometimes despair, which involves loss, a little darkness, a little sadness, very much emotional books. Now, I'm not in the mood for that all the time, but those books are the books that I'm like naturally drawn to. And so if you like to feel something, no matter what the emotion is, these books may be what you want to read. Now, I'm going to show you a few books that are going to be or fit this category. However, it does not mean that I 100% love the book, only that they are very much emotional reads. They're going to bring some emotional or make you feel something. Prepare yourself, okay? Prepare yourself. You do have to be in the right headspace to read this book, because if you are depressed, I would say, I don't think this book is what you want. But if you are in the mood for good writing and you're not depressed, even if you're not depressed, this book I'm just going to be honest with you, it's going to make you depressed, probably. The first book in that category is A Let Us Descend by Jasmine Ward. So this book is so emotional, y'all. The emotion that you're going to feel in this book, heaviness, you can feel the weight, okay, of what the main character is going through. You're going to feel darkness, like a cloud over you. You are going to have a visceral experience. Everything the characters go through, you are going to feel. So make sure that your mind is right, okay, before reading this book. I was not prepared. I was not prepared for the emotion that I would get from this, and that is despair and grief. This does briefly follow Annis. She is a young enslaved girl who was fathered by a white master who sold her from North Carolina to a Louisiana sugar plantation. And the journey from North Carolina to Louisiana, I felt every stone, every glass, everything that she stepped on, the grief, the misery. It was a very much visceral experience, and it weighed me down so much, y'all. I had to put this book down several times. I did make my way through the book, but because it was so heavy, y'all, oh my god, it was so heavy. I can't say that I absolutely love the book because of that, but I will say this, that I still stand by Jasmine Ward as being a wonderful, amazing writer. The descriptive passages, literary techniques used in this book definitely worked for her. Now, were they for me? I don't think so, not 100%. This book had some some mystical, I'll say, mystical, describe it as magical realism in this book from people who were ghosts, okay, and not necessarily living in the story. That was also something I did not like about the book as well. But for the most part, I still think the book was amazing because of the writing, but I didn't enjoy the story. This one did me in. So I have been debating whether I wanted to keep this one because I didn't enjoy like the story itself and the way it made me feel. It was such a haunting, such a very depressed feeling. Yeah, I know it's a slave narrative, but this one will take you there. It will take you there. And so this one is first on the list of books that are very much going to make you feel something. It's not going to be a good, pleasant experience. All right, so the next book that I'm going to share is The Yellow Wife by Sadiqa Johnson. So the emotion that I felt when reading this book is just anger, okay? Anger, because I was so angered by what Phoebe had to go through. Briefly, this follows Phoebe. She is also enslaved a young girl. She's also the daughter of the master, okay? And the mistress is on the plantation as well. She gets sold to a jailer in Richmond, Virginia, which is like my hometown-ish area. So I'm very familiar with that area. And so it was nice to hear about that story. Take nice loosely, okay? Because none of these things I'm talking about is nice, but you know what I mean. Um, it was nice to hear about the story taking place like in a familiar place, right? Something that I can actually, a place that I can actually visit, right, when I go back home. Anyway, so yeah, I felt anger. I felt anger and hopelessness for Phoebe's situation. Also, I felt degraded, right? Because, even though I was not the person going through this, I put myself in her shoes as well. And how would I feel? I would definitely feel degraded, violated, And yeah, this book will definitely have you on a roller coaster of emotions, mostly anger, right? It's not a pleasant book to read. You definitely have to get your head right when you read this book as well. Yeah, is that enough? That's enough. Yeah. So this book will definitely make you feel something, and it won't be good, but it's definitely a good story. Definitely worth the read, but just make sure that your head is right first. Okay? All right. The next book that I read recently is The Street by Ann Petrie. I'm not going to say a whole lot about this one because I did 2 reviews on this book. This one follows Ludi Johnson. Ludi Johnson is a newly single parent raising a 7 or 8-year-old boy. We follow her in the 40s. She is made to live on this street, 116th Street, where all these bad things happen because of her plight and her circumstances as a Black woman. She goes through a lot of things. We meet a lot of characters in this book. And so the emotion that I felt when reading this book is hopelessness. I felt so hopeless when reading her story because Ludi could not catch a break despite trying her hardest. Despite pulling herself by her bootstraps, she still could not get ahead. And unfortunately, that still remains true in this day and age. If you want to feel something, definitely read The Street by Ann Petrie. Love, love, love this book so much. I rated it 10 stars. It was that good. So the next book that I want to talk about is a book that I just recently read. And you know me, when I love a book, you're going to hear it multiple times. I don't care, okay? I don't care if I've talked about it 10 times. I am going to talk about it again. This is Judge Stone by Viola Davis and James Patterson. I don't want to take anything from James Patterson. I know I said in a previous video that it just read like she wrote the book, but his name is on it too. And I'm sure he did contribute to this book because his name is on it, right? This one was so good. This was so good. It follows Judge Stone, who's a Black woman, a circuit court judge in Union Springs City, Alabama, small rural town where, you know what, it's still racial tension. You can still kind of sense that there's tension there in this small town because that's usually how it is, right? Black side, white side. She was a well-rounded person, Judge Stone. She lived on a farm, and also she was a judge of this town. When she is confronted with a case, a monumental politically charged case that she has to preside over, and she has to make right what was done wrong. Supposedly, okay? Supposedly done wrong by someone in the town. This book was so cinematic, okay? It was so cinematic. It was so charged, right? The emotion that was brought out of me is excitement. I was excited because I was anticipating what would happen. How is Judge Stone going to right this wrong? Supposedly, right? What outcome is she going to land on? And so I was very on the edge of my seat in this cinematic book. It was so good, politically charged, and absolutely love this book, y'all. Love, love, love this book. So that is Judge Stone. Anything Viola Davis puts out on the screen or on paper, okay, is going to make me feel that way because I just absolutely love her. And I've always loved her, but after reading her memoir, It just made me respect and love her even more. And I give this lady give her all her flowers and crowns and jewels and all of that, okay? All right, so the next book that I am going to talk about is Kindred by Octavia Butler. I read this one back in 2018, so it's been quite a while since I've read it. This one is due a reread, and back then I did make myself some notes. I was using these sticky notes, as you can see. The emotion that I felt when reading this book is fear. I was fearful for Dana. At the time of writing this book, Octavia Butler wrote this book. Lord have mercy, y'all. Look what I was doing back in the day. I put washi tape to the that's a good idea though. I put washi tape to keep this sleeve down, jacket sleeve down. So, yep, I put it on both ends too. I might start doing that, decorative washi tape. This is a sci-fi of time traveling because you go back and forth between slavery and current time. So it follows Dana. Dana is married to a white man. Dana is living her life when she is suddenly pulled back into slavery, right? And her plight is to save this boy. I think his name was Rufus. I haven't read this book in a long time, but I remember being on the edge of my seat and feeling very fearful about where Dana was going and how she was going to get herself out of this situation, or what was she going to do. Can you imagine just living your life like in future present day and all of a sudden, you're taken back to slavery and how horrible that would be? Like, what in the world? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was very much afraid for Dana. I don't remember a whole lot about this book because it's been such a long time. That's when I know I need to reread it. Because I may feel or pull something out. I probably will pull something different out of the book, but or a different emotion out of the book. But I remember being fearful for Dana. So this one was a really, really good book, and I do recommend that book. This is Perfect Peace by Daniel Black. I love Daniel Black. I made him one of my favorite authors after I read this book and The Coming. And so I've only read two books so far, I think. I need to go ahead and read his whole catalog, but I just have not. I guess I'm savoring him. Anyway, Perfect Peace. You have to read this book if you have not read this book. The emotion that was brought out of me was anger, sadness, indifference as well. I was very much indifferent with the way I was feeling at the end of the book regarding the main character. I don't even remember the main character's name. But mostly I felt so much pity and sadness for him because his mom pretty much at birth made him a girl when he was born a boy. Up until like 7 or 8, he thought he was a girl. And then he finds out tragically that he's really a boy. Y'all, can you just imagine? Can you imagine? So I was so upset and angry at this lady as she has to reconcile with her actions, right? I felt sorry for her because she brought to the table in life. I like reading these books, even though they're fiction. In life, we bring things to the table, right? We bring baggage to the table. Like when we have kids, we're bringing how we grew up, right? And our influences from our parents and things like that. And that is also put onto the children or our husband, wife, whatever the situation may be. We bring our experiences, our own experiences to the table, and those experiences can kind of shape other people's lives, right? And so this is what Betty Jean, or Emma Jean, I think her name was Emma Jean, did. She was a dark-skinned woman. Her mom did not like her. Her mom thought she was ugly, not worthy. So she brought that to the table when she was married and had kids, had all these boys, could not get have a girl. And all she wanted to do was to treat her girl child like her mother never did. And that is why she did what she did, whether it's good or bad, whether it's wrong or right. I don't get to make that decision because everybody has their own reasons why they do certain things, whether it's right or wrong. Anyway, I'm not the judge of anybody, but I was really angry at Emma Jean and very indifferent at the end and felt a lot of pity and sorrow for her. I love this book. I would read this book again. Yeah. Daniel Black, Perfect Peace. All right, so the next book that I'm going to talk about is the book of Harlan by Bernice McFadden, L. McFadden. So I just recently finished this book, and the emotions that were brought out were hopelessness, was despair. This book also was a comedic relief as well, because some of the things that happened was very amusing, right? Very amusing just in the day-to-day lives of the people that we meet in these pages. The character Harlan was written to be her grandfather, or written in the image of her grandfather, not 100% like factual, but with her grandfather in mind. If you want to feel something, you're definitely going to feel all the emotions. You're going to get some comic relief. You're going to be amused by the writing. Your heart is going to break in 1,000 pieces when Harlan, he is taken by the Nazis, and what he experienced, right? Like, it did bring me to tears, like maybe once or twice in the book. Yeah, all emotions in this book. It's definitely a book that is going to make you feel something, for sure. The last book I want to talk about is An American Marriage. This is a novel by Tayari Jones. This was my first book by her. I read this a couple of months ago, maybe 2-3 months ago, for the first time after buying it right when it came out in 2018, I believe. So I've had it on my shelf for that long, and just like recently this year read this book. The emotion that I felt when I read this book is conflicted. So if you don't know what this is about, this follows Roy and Celestial. It takes place in their early 2000s. They are in their 30s, young Black professional couple starting off in life, starting off their careers, when they go back to visit Roy's family in a rural southern area, and Roy gets accused of a crime that he did not commit that puts him in prison for some years, right? He was slated to get 12 years, but due to early release, he was out in 5 years. But a lot went on while he was in jail with Celestial. So Celestial also has a friend by the name of, is escaping my mind right now. What's his name? Andre. When they realize, while Roy is locked up, that there's more than just friendship between them. So they start a relationship. And so the book takes off from there. We see early in the book Celestial communicating with Roy through letters, which I really enjoyed that part. I was really kind of feeling in the initial, in the beginning of the book, I was with Celestial, because how can you really expect someone as young as Celestial to wait for someone for 12 years? It's just unrealistic, right? I don't think it would be fair to ask someone to do that. So that's how I felt initially. But as the story unfolds, I started to lean towards Roy's side, because Celestial was very much, to me, very whimsical, and just did not give her husband a fair chance, right? It seems like the first minute he got locked up, she was on to carrying out, her life on her own terms. And that included another man. And I just hated that for Roy. I really did, because he was a Black man who was in this predicament from no doing of his own, right? He was falsely accused. And so by the end of the book, I was on Roy's side, which, it could go both ways. A lot of people were on Celestial's side, a lot of people were on Roy's side, but I could not stand Celestial as a character. I really could not. Like I said, I was with her in the beginning, but by the end of the book, I was no longer on her side, because I just felt like her character was just so flimsy. She just was a flimsy character. And I just did not feel like she gave her husband a fair try, right? The first minute he was locked up in jail, she was sneaking over to another man. And so, yeah, that is the emotion that I felt when reading this book. So you'll probably feel the same way too, and finally land by the end of the book whose side you're going to be on as well. And so I like this book. It was a really solid book. Yeah, so An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. these are the books that I wanted to share that are going to make you feel something, right? And also to know these books do not reflect all of the books that have brought out emotions or books that I deem are going to make you feel something. These are just a few because time constraints on the video, okay? Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and be blessed.